Come on and slam if you wanna jam! What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode on my channel. As always, I'm Jay, and today, guys, I'm actually going to be reviewing Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, which just dropped in theaters and HBO Max this past weekend. But before I proceed, just know that I will be touching on some spoilers inside of this film, so if you haven't seen it and you know you want to, go check it out first, come back and watch my review. But if that doesn't bother you, or if you've seen the movie, let's jump into Space Jam 2: A New Legacy. Upon visiting Warner Brothers Studios, LeBron James and his son are actually sucked into the WB serververse by the nefarious Al-G Rhythm, played by Don Cheadle. And the thing about it is that as this goes on, LeBron actually has to beat Al-G Rhythm in a video game basketball tournament. So in doing so, he actually enlists the help of the defunct and disbanded Looney Tunes, who are spread across different properties and IPs inside of the different streaming and show verses that we find in this Warner Brothers film. And yeah, once the Toon Squad is back in action, of course, the jam ensues. So guys, people and critics have not been too kind with this film in the couple days that it's been out, and honestly, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if it's the whole nostalgia for the first film, or they have rosy-colored sunglasses, or they just don't like the material that's going on in this. But for me personally, I actually really enjoyed the film for what it was, and I didn't really have a lot of expectations, and admittedly, I did watch it on HBO Max, which it was able to be released on. But overall, I think that this movie had a lot going for it. First of all, the new concept. It's not in space anymore, it's actually in cyberspace, which I think was pretty cool, and they did a lot of kind of cool little things with it, melding it with video games and kind of the streaming services that you get nowadays, and kind of that whole concept really worked well for me, especially when you talked about integrating all the Looney Tunes into the different properties, having them in these situations that are kind of funky and weird, and something, again, different to set itself apart from the first one. Number two, LeBron's character was not like Michael's in the first film. Michael, he's likable, he's, cool, plays it cool in that first one. This one, LeBron is a no-nonsense kind of hard ass, and it kind of permeates to how he raises his son and everything, and all that stems back to, funny enough, when he didn't do his best when he was playing a freaking video game, which was Bugs' Crazy Castle for all you AVGN fans out there. Getting back on track to here, the next big thing that I thought was pretty cool as a concept was Don Cheadle's over-the-top bad guy. I was really enjoying his performance as just this typical mustache twirling villain in Al-G Rhythm, and it was pretty kind of funky, and it's definitely a different take and something different than what Danny DeVito did in his act as the first one and whatnot. And there was a lot more being done as far as this goes, with like him being kind of a boss at the game, and kind of him manipulating LeBron's son and stuff like that. So added a little bit of a spin on there for sure. Next was the Warner serververse concept. It was really cool, and it was kind of fun to see all those little characters sprinkled into the crowd at the end. It reminded me of Ready Player One, actually, to be honest. And here's the funny thing. Warner Brothers knows it's got the properties and knows it's got all these things that they can do kind of a mishmash of. So through the Lego movies, through this movie, through Ready Player One, they seem to be able to do well when it's a shared universe in that respect and having cameos and pop-ups, but they can't get their shit together on their superhero films. I just don't know how you messed that up, Warner Brothers. And lastly, I gotta be honest, I feel like the film did work as a family film. It was fun, it was wholesome, there wasn't anything grotesque. It was actually pretty cool. It's like Looney Tunes fun, and it kind of reminded me of the tone of the first one, and of course some films like Uncle Drew, for example. This is exactly what movies like this are supposed to do, be a good time for the whole family to enjoy, and I think that it definitely excelled in that, even if the surface level stuff and kind of the cliched message of being yourself was at the forefront. It still works, and you can't knock it for it. Now, what did the first movie do better? Because obviously I gotta get this specific point out in the open right now. There's a few different things that I think the first film did a lot better. First and foremost, MJ versus LeBron. Obviously, you're wanting to watch the one with Michael Jordan because he's the GOAT, he's the greatest. There's not really any movies or anything with him in it. And this movie knows it. This movie knows it, so they poked fun at it by having Michael B. Jordan make an appearance, because Daffy ends up confusing him with the original Michael Jordan, which I'm thinking, like, how the hell did you mess that up when you played basketball with him in the first film? The soundtrack, I mean, is there a soundtrack in this film? Are there hits in this film? I can't say that I recall any of them, because in the first one you have so many hits. You got I Believe I Can Fly, Fly Like an Eagle, the cover by Seal. You got the theme song. So in that respect, the soundtrack definitely much better on the first film, I have to say. And this one is more of a preference type of thing. I felt like the animation was a little bit better in the first one because I like that cell animation. I like the animation, which is more hand-drawn versus 3D animation. So overall, guys, Space Jam 2: A New Legacy is a good, fun, family-filled time. It is worth your buck at the theater, or if you want to chill out on a lazy Sunday and watch it on HBO Max while it's there. It's not going to ruin your childhood. Don't think too hard on it. It's not going to have huge, crazy, emotional breakthrough values, but it does have a good, solid message, and overall, I found it to be very enjoyable. As a Looney Tunes fan, and as a fan of the first one, you know, I couldn't ask for anything more. Yeah, guys, I definitely recommend going and checking it out if you haven't already. Well, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching my review of Space Jam 2: A New Legacy. If you dug the video, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are sub, hit that bell button. That way you never miss a moment of my content.